This meeting will be held in person and online with a link provided above. And of course, you folks can't see what we see, but it's on the town's website. Residents may click in to participate or call in using the phone number provided in the agenda header. Also, it's on the website, so you can call there. Our roll call: Georgia.
Here.
Derek.
Here.
Andrew. Bradley. We are all four here. There is a quorum. Our first order of business is the approval of minutes from April 27th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Georgia Woodbury, I move that we accept the minutes of the August 27th meeting.
Is there a second?
Derek Shirley, I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? See no discussion. All those in favor?
Sorry.
Approved. We have some new business tonight. The first item of new business is Megan L. Shope has submitted an administrative appeal for a proposal to operate a pet grooming and kennel use on their .85 acre parcel at 30 Yarmouth Road, tax map 044-405-054-000 in the Village Center proper zoning district. Is there a motion to open a public hearing?
Georgia Woodbury, I move that we open the public hearing on this appeal.
Is there a second?
Derek Shirley, I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Would somebody from the appellant like to come up and address the board, please?
Hi. Good evening. My name is Megan Shope, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here as a current property owner in Gray, and with a new small business plan I hope to bring to town, a cats-only boarding and grooming facility. As many of you may know, there are currently no cat-exclusive boarding and grooming options available, not only in our town, but for many of the surrounding towns. Local pet owners regularly have to travel far for these services or use in-home services, which can be uncomfortable and stressful for both the cats and their families. My goal is to fill this gap with a quiet, safe, and specialized environment designed specifically for feline care while being at home as much as possible for my 3 children. This business will serve our community by offering a much-needed service, supporting local cat parents. It provides something many people have expressed a desire for, a calm, cat-focused alternative to mixed animal facilities, which can often be overwhelming or unsuitable for many cats. My business plan is low impact and community friendly. Cats are quiet indoor animals, so no noise will be an issue. The facility's traffic will be minimal, limited mainly to drop off and pick up by appointment times that are scheduled during business hours and spaced out to avoid congestion. There's no outdoor kennel use, no barking, and no odors. Everything is contained indoors and will meet or exceed all health and safety standards. My plan has been very carefully designed to ensure that there's no negative impact on our neighbors' property values, traffic patterns, or the peaceful atmosphere of the area. Ultimately, this is a small, specialized service that enhances our community without disturbing it. I'm committed to being transparent, responsible, and responsive to any concerns, and to operating a business that reflects the values of our town.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Georgia?
Georgia Woodbury.
Hi.
Okay, couple of questions. First off, how many cats are you looking to board?
I would say maybe like between 10 and 20 at the most. I would assume that like holiday times, would probably be busier, but like throughout the year, I don't think it would be as busy.
I happen to board my cat when I go on vacation. And the way she has it set up now, since COVID, it used to be you could take the cat up and put it in its little kennel and see where it was. And since COVID, you just drop it off. She comes down, she meets it, gets all the information, you sign the paperwork, and then when you pick it up, you have an assigned time to come back. So that, would you have a lot of pedestrian traffic as far as going up and down and coming in and out, or how would you be receiving the cats?
No, I would like the owners to be able to come in and help get their cats situated and familiar with the area. But I would do that by appointment only for congestion, so that there weren't a bunch of people showing up at the same time, and just kind of have like a general time frame of when they're coming and give them as much time as they needed to make sure they were comfortable and their cat was as well.
Yeah, she used to have us like a half hour apart so that you had time to,
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
I have a question.
Derek?
It's actually kind of a two-parter. Are you kind of leaning more towards grooming or kenneling? Yeah, kenneling, or is it kind of a balance of the two? How would you racialize that, like business-wise?
Yeah, it would kind of be a balance of the two. I would assume grooming would be like, during the day, and all those appointments would also be spaced out so that I didn't have a bunch of people there at once. But it would definitely be for both. I am a pet groomer now. I own a dog and cat grooming business outside of our town. So I already have a lot of cat clientele. And for the most part, I make my schedule so the cats aren't there when there's too many other dogs there, but I would really like to offer a cat-only zone for them so that there's no stress of.
And it's like, so it's grooming and boarding, right? Or
Here, the business I'm looking to do would be grooming and boarding for cats.
Okay.
Yep.
So then my other kind of follow-up to that question, just to be clear, I write notes on my phone. I'm not being nosy or in my phone. I take my notes from here. For clarification, can you explain why the grooming portion of your proposal could not be pursued as a home occupation, which is permitted in your district, while instead of seeking administrative appeal from the code enforcement interpretation of kennel?
I believe I can do grooming at my home, to my understanding. It's just the definition of kenneling is 2 or 3 dogs or cats spending a night at a facility, so I'm just appealing the kenneling part.
And this might seem weird, but there's a connection. Do you have any personal pets?
Yes,
How many personal pets do you currently have?
I have 2 cats and 2 dogs.
Okay. I'll put a pin in it for there. Thank you.
Andrew, any questions?
I don't think so at this time.
I will admit my ignorance as to cat boarding. If you were to be able to establish, I'd say, the cat boarding in the separate garage area, how far does the house sit off the road, the front door of the house?
Very close to the road.
And is that the gray one that's, and you've got the dirt road beside you on the right looking at it?
Yep.
Where does that dirt road go to?
If you're looking at my house, the dirt road on the right is Beehive Lane. And if you go down there on the right, there's a house, and then at the very end is like a long apartment building. I believe there's 4 or 5 units in there.
Okay. So there's the road, your house, and then the driveway that would go to the business?
My driveway is to the left of my house.
Okay.
And so it comes in and it goes all the way down my property line, and then it wraps around to my garage.
How far off the road would the proposed kennel be?
It's pretty far back. I would say at least a couple 100 feet, if not more. It's down.
And how far from, let's say, the nearest neighbor's sleeping area? Or how, I don't want to say sleeping area, because you don't know, probably don't
The
know.
house.
How far distance would the kennel itself be from the neighboring home?
So where my garage is, that house that's down Beehive is basically right across the street. Beehive, the house is right there.
Okay, so there's a street between your proposed business and a neighboring house?
Yeah,
Is
it's
there?
a dirt
how about-
road.
How about a house to the left? Looking?
No, it's just the house that's right there, and then the apartment building, which is set further back, and it's like that long building.
So when you look at this picture, would that be the house? This garage where she wants to put the kennel. There's a little,
Could you step up for a minute?
Yes.
Please. We were provided a picture. It's on the back of the application.
So this is the garage,
and then Okay.
this is the house across the street, and then that's the apartment building back there.
So this is the house across from Beehive, the dirt lane?
Yeah, this is Beehive, and then my driveway comes down around on this side.
Okay.
There's a little, driveway here, but we would not be using.
And this building is this building?
Yes, so
Okay.
this view is from like standing on the other side of it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
And to be clear, this isn't a trap question, this is a literal logical question. So if you look at the definition of kennel, it says, any place, building, tract of land, etc., where 3 or more dogs or 3 or more cats owned singularly or jointly are kept away for any purpose, including but not limited to, and I don't mean to bore people with the definition, they probably read it 800 times as well. My thing is, and this, if you can't answer, but isn't by definition, if anyone has, I have 4 cats, sounds like you have 4 animals, isn't that by definition still considered a kennel?
To my understanding, yes, and if you do have that many animals, even if they're your personal animals, you are still supposed to get a license for a kennel.
Thank you.
I think the main difference is that the kenneling refers to a financial gain.
no, 'cause
It
it
says
says
or.
for a fee.
Or, yeah, well, I don't think she's gonna be grooming cats for free.
No, but it does say in here for a fee.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the definition is sort of disjunctive in that there's 2
Yes.
potential branches where you could be considered a kennel.
Yeah.
And the second one is, 1 or more dogs or other pets are kept for their owners in return for a fee. And then the other one, I have the same concern as Derek, where it does sound like if you have 3 pets in town, that you're a kennel, which maybe is something for the OAC to take up. That doesn't make much sense. But-
Okay, so going back to my complete ignorance question, what does a cat kennel, I mean, I've never been to a cat kennel. What does a cat kennel
So
look like? I mean, what's in there?
basically just an individualized space per cat or per family of cats, that they're contained where they have access to like their litter box, place to be comfortable, explore, food, water, and just somewhere that they can be for any amount of time where their owners aren't able to take care of them if they're going on vacation or.
Would the enclosures be separated by a solid wall, or would you have a cage-type wall between each kennel so the cats can see each other, or?
So the sides would be solid, and then the front of it would be probably like a screen or a gate of some sort, so there's still like airflow and, that kind of stuff. But they would be contained, so they'd be able to see in front of them. So if the kennels were like across from each other, they'd be able to see them. But if they were next to each other, they would not see their neighboring cats.
Cats are very finicky.
Yes.
Cats are, well, I'm finicky. How many, I mean, I think it was discussed between 10 and 20. What would be the maximum number of enclosures?
I guess that would kind of depend on like, once I get a contractor in there and like space-wise, I mostly want to make it comfortable for the cats. So looking at the space, you know, designing how big the space could be, how much I could fit in there. But I would go for comfort over quantity.
Depending on the size of the cat, obviously, how large would each enclosure need to be?
I'm not sure what like the minimum by like, you know, safety regulations and stuff is, but I would want a pretty decent space. So probably like about 3 feet wide and like 5 feet deep. And then I was thinking about honestly going floor to ceiling because cats like to climb and have space. Like a small closet, I guess.
Well, I do have a reason for asking, so I just want to
Okay.
make sure that I have an understanding.
Can I add something? It's not really a question.
Absolutely.
Or it is a question, actually. Just because we went to our training recently. My brain's...
Exactly.
My brain's
Go
turning.
to a seminar and beware
Yeah,
afterwards,
yes,
right?
yes. It just seems like since our current ordinance and our current like issue here is, it seems like a definition of kennel. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think the zoning board has the authority to say like cats only, right? That would be more of a planning board thing. And I'm not saying like I definitely want to keep talking about this and moving forward, but like there's too much talk about like cats only where like that might be a little reach for us because it clearly says about cats and dogs. So all of a sudden we're like making exceptions to this where it's like, I don't know if we have that reach. And I could be wrong because I'm fresh out of training. So I'm just making sure I'm crossing my T's and dotting my I's because that was one thing they preached at us is to make sure we're staying in our lane essentially. So I just wanted to bounce that off the chair what he thought of that. Or anyone else.
I think that one of the questions I posed to the person conducting the seminar was similar to the planning board, could we have standing conditions on any decision that we would make? And the answer to that was yes,
Okay.
that we could make standing conditions within the scope of the ordinance. And it would be possible for us to say, it would be possible if we agreed to do that, to say, yes, you could have a cat grooming and kenneling business for cats only and limit the number of enclosures for cats only in this thing, in this zone, to accommodate the business. That being said, I'm looking at the zoning map, and in the village center proper, what astounds me is that currently you can't, a person couldn't have a kenneling business, but you could have mineral extraction.
Well, not just
I
that.
mean-
Not just that. Well, let me do one better. You actually, by this, you can have a kennel by legal definition. You can have a kennel.
So
I mean, not legal definition, but by this ordinance, I should say.
There's some confusion, but
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is like I'm more stuck on the kennel definition a little bit than like cat or dog kennel because it's like, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm nowhere a genius in this.
Oh, there is a big difference between kenneling dogs and cats, because dogs are very...
Oh, I
noisy.
agree. I own 4 cats. I'm not nothing against cats. You know,
Dogs are
if
noisy.
if anything, I should disclose myself because I love cats so much. But my point of the matter is, it's like, if you're already operating, if you're already by definition a kennel in this non-kennel space, do you hear, that's my point. I'm not
No, I
looking
hear
for
you.
an answer. That's just my kind of 2 cents, and where I'm kind of like in a speed bump a little bit.
I mean, I guess it really amounted to it. You could live in the village center proper. Is that what the WCP is, proper? And be a hunter and have 6 coon dogs. And kenneling your 6 coon dogs for, for hunting purposes. I'm not saying that, hopefully that would never happen, because coon dogs, as we all know, are
Oh,
villains of the night, so to speak. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Thank you
yes.
very, oops, I'm sorry.
One quick one. Would it be just you, or would you have other employees? That's a lot of litter.
I think from my understanding, I would be allowed to have 1 employee, like, at this business, and I do have an employee at my other established business. But, I mean, I've been doing this a very long time, and before I opened my business, the place I worked, we boarded dogs and cats. So I have a lot of experience with it, and definitely feel, I would be able to do it myself, but I also love my employees, so yeah, I have help.
I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance that limits or specifies a certain number of employees.
That she's referring to the home
Home business.
yeah, the home business. They can have 1 non-family member employee.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
But yes,
Yes,
that,
yes,
yes,
that's what
home
it's
occupant.
thank you. Does anybody from the
Thank you.
public have any comments? Would you step up to the podium, please, and identify yourself? And
Good evening, Bruce Woodard, adjacent property owner. Couple things. I understand this is appeals of a rejection.
At this point in time, a kenneling business as defined by the ordinance is not allowed in the village center proper. And her residence and property is within that zone. So in essence, it is, yeah, you can't do it.
Okay.
And she's appealing that, well, I think I should be able to do this because I'm doing cats only, and I want to appeal the decision. She,
So has anything changed from her original submittal to now in the proposal that she's given?
no, not that I don't,
No.
not that I wouldn't
So
think so. No.
so there really isn't any reason to overturn your original?
Well,
I guess I'm a
We
little
haven't-
confused as
We-
to
we
why this
haven't- we
process.
haven't made-
It
we
looks
haven't-
pretty clear as
yeah.
to what the
We haven't
code
made
is.
it, we haven't made a decision.
But you
we-
rejected it the first time.
No, we didn't. That came from.
Why
the
is this
co-
an appeals?
Well, the code enforcement officer, apparently goes to the code enforcement officer to make a business. And within the scope of the zoning board, the zoning ordinance, the code enforcement officer said, no, you can't have that business there. She is now making use of the appeals process to come to this board, which is quasi-judicial, to say, will you grant me an appeal or will you maintain the decision of the code enforcement office? So we can do 2 things. We can say, the code enforcement officer is correct, you can't do this, or we can say, yes, you can do this.
Okay. So basically, it looks like the code, though, is pretty strict insofar as what a kennel is, cats and dogs. Are you looking to change that in this hearing, in this?
We don't have the authority to change the ordinance.
Okay.
What we have the authority to do is grant an appeal, let's say a non-precedent setting appeal, that would allow a person to establish a business outside the definition of kennels.
So the ultimate objective of this gathering is for you to go forth to the next step to redefine a kennel.
No. It's tough to explain. We're like the district court, we're like the Superior Court. The district court made a decision, the person didn't like the decision, so they go into the Superior Court and say, can you overturn this?
in opposition to what it clearly states within the zoning regs. Is that what you're saying? You would grant something that's obviously, as far as the zoning regs go,
We do have the
a
authority
limited,
to do that.
okay.
Because sometimes ordinances, I'm not saying yes or no one way or the other, but sometimes ordinances are not clearly written, or maybe the times have changed and they were good 10 years ago, but they're not good now. And if the ordinance, let's say, has changed, or the ordinance may remain the same, but the circumstances in our society may have changed, which would say, oh, this ordinance is outdated and it might need to be looked at by the Ordinance Review Committee.
I understood that to be only specific to certain cases where there were extenuating circumstances specific to that reg, where here it seems to be pretty clear the kennel is in place in this, unlawfully,
Well,
according to
there's nothing in
zoning.
place. There's nothing there yet.
Would be, if so.
It could be, yes.
2, it looks like, I'm assuming, given the picture, the main entrance and exit is Route 115 into this proposed business operation?
It's in her current drive, it would be her current driveway,
Current driveway, which enters onto Route 115.
yes.
30 animals, 30 people. I hear you saying you can, limit them. If I'm an owner and I've dropped off my cat, what's the normal time I'm going to be picking them up? Probably after I'm through work. I don't know how often you guys travel up and down Route 115
Every day.
during commuting hours. 30 cars, and I hate you guys are commenting on people having 4 cats and 5 dogs. That's one individual, though. 30 people coming in, as best you can do, regulate them time-wise, which I find almost impossible if I'm an owner that's dropped off my cat and I'm picking it up after work or dropping it off in the morning. I don't understand how that access onto 115 isn't going to impact that traffic flow seriously.
Excuse me. I'm not sure, Megan, but typically, I'm a cat owner. I board my cat when I go away. You don't board a cat while you go to work. You board a cat when you go on vacation.
I don't know
So-
how a cat boarding business works either,
No,
so.
so that's why I'm trying to explain to you. You don't board a cat when you go to work in the morning and pick it up at night. You do that with dogs. I understand people
Okay.
do that with their dogs. But cats, you can leave alone all day while you go to work. I have a kitten that's like this big, and I go to work, and when I come home at night, she's still sitting there waiting for me, tearing the house apart. But you only board a cat typically if, all right, you're going on vacation, you don't take a cat on a plane, and you don't take it to a resort. You don't take it when you go in the hospital. If you're going to be in the hospital for a few days, you board your cat. So it's not like somebody's going to be coming in and out of that driveway every morning and every night.
Will there be
It's just-
restrictions on her that can't happen?
No, I'm just saying.
But
that-
I'm just saying, that potentially could happen. 30 people at a commuting time picking up their cats, given what she
You-
said for
now,
30
you said
animals.
you were in a butter.
I'm in a butter.
Where do you live?
I'm on the north side of her,
On 115.
on 115.
Okay. I just don't see people dropping cats off in the morning and picking them up at night.
You may not see it, but
That's-
it's a potential to happen.
There's a potential.
So I take it you're
I-
against this.
I am very much against it
Okay.
for 2 reasons. One, it's in direct violation of what seems to be a code right now, and I don't see the extenuating circumstances to grant it for somebody else's belief that there's a reason to allow it. these are put in place for a reason. We have a residential community within Gray that is already being somewhat imposed upon. To continue it is disrespectful to the residential property owners who like to enjoy their property in peace and tranquility without cars driving constantly, which we can't help in terms of the road, but added traffic would be something we could definitely try to resist allowing. It's already really bad.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to comment? Please step up to the podium and identify yourself.
Hi, we're the property owners across the street, directly across on 115.
23.
Yep, number 23. The brick building that used to be the trolley station. So we have a lot of concerns. There was a lot that were just brought up. Very concerned about traffic. The part of the property that they're saying is the driveway is, I don't know if it's even their property. If you look at the map that's provided, the aerial view, you can see where it's written driveway, and there's the line indicating the driveway is not on their property. So when we moved into the house, we had woods across the street, and we now have a driveway that comes out directly facing our house. Just
Two people below, before.
just coming here tonight, if they're leaving their driveway, which they did with high beams on, our whole house glows up. So I have a lot of concern. I hear you saying cats aren't there, we're not gonna have 20 to 30 a day. That's also besides the point when you're talking about grooming in the space, because that's a lot, that's a constant flow all day. So if somebody comes, do they drop off the cat for grooming? How long does the cat stay for the grooming? So is every cat being dropped off for grooming, is that 2 trips down the driveway shining their beams in my house? Like, that is not a place where a lot of traffic should be coming out of. That's a really big concern.
Also, if you allow kennels, it's now a kennel zone. So wouldn't that allow dogs eventually to someone who would move in, because you've now turned it into a kennel zone?
We don't have the authority to change the zone of the kennel.
But you're-
you're allowing a
We
kennel.
couldn't say, well, yeah, you can have dogs. Well,
But
no.
what's to stop her from having dogs?
Yeah.
We can set a condition.
Does Gray have, so we came up against, with this property owner, some very, very loud trucks going for like 45 minutes every morning directly across the street from our house. It shakes our house. It's very, very loud. Unbelievable. We've been to town hall about it. Gray doesn't have any noise ordinances.
Yeah, they do.
They definitely do.
We were
We were told by
completely
the
told
authorities
up and
that there
down.
wasn't.
So I have a concern that if you say cats aren't loud, if cats are loud, if the dogs around the cats, there's a lot of dog owners in the neighborhood. I don't know how my dogs will react to cats coming and going, the smells of cats, they're indoor, I don't know. It's, I don't know. But that's a concern. I know that they're not here. The people that live on Beehive are very, very close to this property. And,
It's just a driveway. It's a glorified driveway, Beehive Road. It's not a
well,
two-lane road.
the property, 30 Yarmouth used to have their driveway on Beehive many years ago, and I think for some reason that ended. They stopped, Beehive said, nope, you can't, 30 Yarmouth can't use this driveway. And then they put the driveway in between their house and that house that's across from ours, that's, I don't believe, on their land. So they don't have access on that Beehive Road where the kind of kennel is. So if you're looking at that map, you'd think, oh, this is on Beehive Drive. You wouldn't think that you'd have to use a different driveway to it. And I feel like that could get concerning, and also, like I said, many cars coming and going a day directly across the street from us. It's a dirt driveway. It's unimproved. Those are some concerns.
Anybody have any questions?
No, I hadn't thought of the grooming part. I was thinking of the boarding.
I have a question. Does grooming and/or boarding concern you more than the other? Is there one that makes you
Both,
feel?
the coming and going of cars.
Okay, so no matter what business?
Yeah.
Okay, so
No,
where
not
I'm
whatever
com-
business, a woman, I mean, she should have a home business. I want people to have their businesses so wonderful, it's great. I feel like this could have some really serious negative impacts. That's what I'm worried
Because
about,
I
not about the
personally-
business part.
Right, right, and I just want to be personally clear, like, you know, because that's your concern, and I hear you. Technically, by law, how this zoning is, she could still have a grooming business with no boarding in, without anything.
Yes, I read that, yeah.
Okay.
So
And-
then you'd have all the cars all the time.
Well, there's going to be all of the cars all the time and the boarding. I'm just concerned about some of these points, like the property line. Like I said, we moved into a house that we had woods across the street from our house, and now it's a loud driveway as it is. It's really interesting how their property line keeps creeping closer and closer north.
Yeah.
And
And the
I-
kennel, I don't want to see a kennel that turns into a dog kennel.
And
I hear
if a
you.
kennel is already established there, what's to
Yeah, what's to
keep
say
it
that the-
from changing over to a
And
dog?
and I just want to be clear, like, and to everyone again, like, by definition, this definition, as is this kennel, if you have more than 3 animals, anyone is considered a kennel. And you think that's okay?
That's patronizing to ask me that, but.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just.
No, but we're here because she's opening a business. We're not here because she has 3 animals and we're,
No, but we're here about the
concerned about
definition of
that.
kennel, and that's what this is. That's what I'm asking
Yeah.
you about. So it is very permanent to this. It's not left field. So I'm just asking.
and if
do
you're
you think that-
changing,
do you
if
think
you're
that's-
changing
do
it
you-
for
do you-
cats, if we're changing it because it
We're
says
not, and that wasn't the
cats,
question.
then are we
That was
changing it
not
for
the
dogs?
question. The
That's
question.
my question.
Well, I'm the one asking the questions right now.
ask the question
So
of
my
me.
question is, do you think if someone, by this definition of kennel that's already in our establishment, the ordinance, if someone has 3 pets or more, it's considered a kennel? By this definition that's already existence, do you think that is fair?
That
As
doesn't,
a person?
that doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter on
It
that.
does
We're
to
talking
me.
about the law. We're talking
No, no,
about
we
how
are
it's
talking about
written.
this law, right here.
It doesn't make sense. Many people have over 3
Okay, so it doesn't make sense to you.
animals.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other questions for me, like about the property
is-
line
is
thing
B-
that I was talking about or
Well,
anything?
we can't talk about property maps and lines because we
Yeah.
don't have anything and we don't have a survey and we don't have
Okay.
the actual map to say where the driveway is or the width of that. So we really can't address that because it's not before us. Is Beehive a public or a private road?
Private road.
Private road. Is there an association down there, do you
I
know?
have no idea.
Okay. Cramp. Does anybody else have anything? I mean, does anybody else have anything? I have a question. Certainly.
Thank you.
Inga Connors, Blueberry Lane. My question is this. Has it been established that she can do a grooming business as a home occupation?
Home occupations are allowed in the VCP, right?
Okay.
I think I saw that
Yes,
on the
show
list.
So whether or not you guys approve it, she is able to groom cats at her house?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to clarify that. So the only difference is she's asking to be able to keep animals overnight.
Yes.
That's the only thing that's going to change? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have questions for this code enforcement officer. I don't know if it's appropriate time or not. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say.
Tammy, Derek has some questions of the code enforcement officer. If you could step up to the podium, please.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, Tammy. So, I have just a few questions. Right now, in your office, how does, wait, actually I have it here. Where was it? Is there a written criteria or precedence that the code enforcement uses to distinguish a home-based service from a kennel? So like I've been preaching about, 3 cats.
Yeah, basically, yes, basically a home occupation is a very low impact use that really, you really shouldn't be able to drive by and know that that business is there. Such as like grooming one dog at a time or an attorney meeting with one client. Somebody doing crafting and selling it online, internet sales. Those are typical examples of home occupations. Kennels are, by definition, which I know you're caught on if you have 3 or more pets, you're automatically a kennel. Well, it says that you keep for an owner for a fee. So unless you're keeping somebody else's animals at your house for a fee, then you're not automatically a kennel in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
So it's much different criteria because a kennel would be a more impactful use. And that's the definition, and that's the difference.
Okay. And this is kind of a weird question. You don't have to answer it, but it's vague.
Go ahead.
How does the code enforcement define the term "kept" in the kennel definition?
Might have to get the definition.
I don't know if kept is defined.
Thank you. I know you.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. And I know it's weird. I just was interested with that.
What
Like,
do we do without the 5 points?
Yeah, I mean, it's not defined in the definitions, but are kept for any purpose. I mean, what you typically would do in any ordinance, if you don't have a definition for a word in the actual definition section of the ordinance, you refer to what would be the Webster's Dictionary under most laws. That's how you apply
okay.
definitions.
And then my final question is for my clarity. Then, if someone comes over and I'm out of town to feed my 4 cats and I pay them, is that considered a kennel at that point?
No, because they're not keeping them for you.
Fair enough. Thank you.
No. Anybody else? No?
It's a toughie.
Does anybody have anything else? Is there a motion? We can make a motion to allow it. We could make a motion, the motion would be in the affirmative to allow it, and then it would be the yay or nay, and depending on the outcome. So I would make the motion then that, thank you, Megan L. Shoup be granted an administrative appeal for a proposal to operate a pet grooming and kennel use on their .85 acre parcel at 30 Yarmouth Road, tax map. Ingrid, you want to just copy that in the Village Center proper zoning district. And that said kennel use be restricted to no more than 10, excuse me, I want to remove the restriction part. I just want to go with the, Megan L. Shoup has submitted an administrative appeal for a proposal to operate a pet grooming and kennel use on their .05 acre parcel at 30 Yarmouth Road tax map. And you've got the numbering in the Village Center zoning district. Is there a second?
Georgia Woodbury, I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
Discussion.
I gotta discuss it. I gotta say my feelings out loud, which is sometimes people hold their breath. But what I'm stuck on, and anyone can speak up, is if people that are against it are on the side of traffic, and I totally respect that. Living on a pretty hectic road myself, not the same road, but I get bad traffic. If this person go ahead and operate, this person can legally operate a grooming under this court ordinance. I just would think, and this is just me being me, and I could be wrong. If you already know that, wouldn't you want your neighbor to succeed as much as possible as a business owner, as someone in town? And that's rhetorical. I'm not saying you have to answer that, but that's where I'm kind of at a point where, like, I agree with you guys. It can be hectic, but if she could already do half the business anyway, regardless of this process, because I do respect abutters, I really do, because it is, hometown rule. So I do respect what you're saying.
I think
Andrew?
I would give a little context about where I'm at.
Please.
With this. I think you look at section 402.9.2 B1. This is an administrative appeal. So code enforcement officer made a decision. We're here saying, did they make the right decision based on the zoning ordinance? It says, decisions of the code enforcement officer may be reversed only upon a finding that the decision is clearly contrary to specific provisions of this ordinance. I don't love the definition of kennel. I think the code enforcement officer is right. This is kenneling. I think that's probably, well, I'm not going to speak for the board, but
Okay.
I think, the keeping of dogs and cats for any purpose, and in this case, keeping them for money. I mean, I'm relieved to hear that you have a business, and it's not all dependent on this property, because frankly, I think that the code enforcement officer applied the zoning ordinance correctly. I think there's other ways to try and get that business in there if you want it in there. I don't think an administrative appeal is the right form for that, and so I would vote against the motion in this case.
I guess my position is that the applicant could groom cats or dogs all day long in that spot. They could establish a business to that effect in that spot. I am a little hung up on the boarding, and more than I would vote against the appeal and make a formal referral back to the ordinance review committee to look at that ordinance to see if it's one that meets today's needs. I mean, it's easy to say, and it sounds almost flippant, groom all the cats that you want. You just can't keep them on the property. And I think that the ordinance is, I think the code enforcement officer made the correct decision within the confines of the ordinance. Georgia?
I agree with that, in the sense that the kenneling is different than the business, and she can have a business, and she can groom and have traffic going in and out of that driveway as much as she wants, taking care of these cats, dropping them off, picking them up for grooming purposes. But the overnight boarding should be, and I agree that the ordinance committee should review the ordinance, because things have changed. There are not that many people that get to stay home and take care of their pets all the time. And the need for a place is quite relevant. But that's an ordinance thing, not a zoning board.
Anything else by anybody?
And I'll just finish up with, as someone that's the chair of the Ordinance Advisory Committee as well, I think it is something to, definitely take a look at. But as Drew said it perfectly, I think it's very clear, while we don't necessarily agree on the definition of kennel per se, the code enforcement acted in their way, and I just don't think this is the avenue. Personally, I don't think this is the avenue, especially be due to concerns of abutters as well. But hey, feel free to run any other business, or not, almost any other business. There's a small list of businesses you can't run. You can run almost any other business out of there but there's a small list. I'm not recommending to do that. That's just the facts of the home occupation. So yeah, I think we're ready to vote.
So I think you need to redo the motion to grooming only.
Well, she
No,
doesn't
she
need a
doesn't,
motion
she
for
doesn't
that.
need our approval
Yeah,
for
but
that.
it's all part of this whole thing. If we reject it, don't we reject the whole thing?
No, we only reject
Okay.
the boarding and grooming. The grooming is allowed under the ordinance now.
Okay,
We're either voting on an administrative appeal to do both. And her appeal is addressing to do both at the same
Right.
time.
May I?
We technically didn't close it.
We'll give you one last chance.
So I do currently currently groom cats and dogs at a place that I rent. I'm really trying to focus on cats because dog grooming is very hard on the body. But at the same time, this is what I've done for over a decade. It's what I will continue to do. Allowing cats to board kind of limits my need to groom. If I'm not able to board cats, then I will have to continue grooming to the extent that I am, which actually would create a lot more traffic, because having more grooming animals, they're getting dropped off for a couple hours and picked up a couple hours later. Boarding, they're being dropped off and picked up 3 to 5 to 2 weeks to a month later. So having the opportunity to be able to kennel pets would actually limit my business and make a lot less traffic and presence to the road. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
I understand that.
thank you.
The motion on the table is to grant the appeal as submitted.
Do you want to officially close public comment?
Does anybody else have anything else to say? Okay, then I would declare that the public hearing is closed.
Public comment.
Public comment, public hearing is closed. And we have a motion on the table to grant the appeal. All those in favor of granting the appeal? All those opposed? It's unanimous. I make the motion that we make a formal referral through the correct town processes to the Ordinance Advisory Committee
Yes.
for consideration and possibly changing or looking at the feasibility of the ordinance that's currently written. Is there a second? Is there any discussion from the public? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, thank you. Is Ken your advisor?
Ken Farrington, Great May. So I was reading this kennel definition, and I'm a little curious why she's even here. It says conditional use and state plan review approval by the planning board are required. So has she been to the planning board?
I don't think so. She couldn't go to the planning board, Ken, unless we granted the appeal that she could do that type of business.
Well,
And then if she can do that type of business.
That'd be the place to go to start?
I don't,
Go ahead,
we haven't done
No,
that.
no, no. Yeah, that's what I originally thought. I thought we were kind of shooting the gun before the horse a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. So,
Well, the reason why it's not in front of the planning board is because it's not an allowed use. The very first thing that you do is you look at that table and you see whether there's a P or a C, which C is a conditional use, which means that you need planning board or site plan, and P is permitted. There's nothing in the box in the use table. So if I sent it to planning board, they would have sent her away, because they won't even hear it, because it's not allowed.
Well, I think you guys did the right thing, because like I said, I think they should have gone to the planning board. and-
Well, if we had approved it, it would have to go to the planning
Okay,
board.
that's all. I-
But at this point in time, what we've said is that the code enforcement officer's decision based on the current criteria is correct.
Yes, yeah, I
And
did hear
the
that. I
appeal
was
is
just kind
not-
of confused on the writing in here on why the steps were this way and
And,
not.
yeah, and we would like to refer it back or out to the ordinance advisory committee to see if there needs to be a revision.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
All those in favor all those in favor of making the referral to the ordinance advisory committee? Unanimous. You'll get a written decision within the next week of what we've done tonight. Other new business? I do have one other item, if I can find it, or two other items. Schedule?
Wow, you know where it is.
I do. We have before us the proposed ZBA meeting schedule for 2026. I think immediately looking at this, that the November and December dates have to be changed. And we will turn to Derek, who has his calendar, or Georgia, who have their calendars for 2026, to make that the second Wednesday in both months.
Actually, the 3rd. These dates are all the 4th.
I understand that, but I want to
Oh,
make it
okay.
for November and December. I think it would be better to have
Yeah.
it the second
Oh, okay.
Wednesday.
I won't be there on November 2nd, the second Wednesday.
So this is in 2026 November. So you want to do it the 11th? Oh wait, no, it's Wednesday. The 12th?
Or do we want to go,
Wednesday's
or the
the 11th.
19th, 18th and 19th again?
Okay.
Which one?
The 18th is Wednesday.
Yeah, 18th. So
Okay,
it'd be the
so-
18th on the,
11,
Yeah.
18, 26.
yeah.
And that would make it the other one 12, 18, 26?
Yeah, well, make it 16.
16.
Does that work for everybody?
Let me check my schedule for a year from now.
Well, I mean, we do have, we do
I'm
have,
kidding.
we do have a quorum, so
No.
that's
This-
nice.
The 9th is the 2nd, and the 16th is the 3rd.
Okay. That will conform to what we had for this year.
Yeah.
And just a note that Kyle should change the, on the website calendar to reflect the correct December date. December has 2 dates on the website, so we probably need to get that corrected somehow. Okay. The other motion I have, and as Derek said, go to a seminar and you learn stuff that you are refreshed of stuff that you should have been doing all the time. I have a motion to propose based on notices of decisions that we do. And traditionally, we have, I mean, for as long as I've been doing this, like, it's been like 9 years now, and before that, Barry, the same thing is that we came to a decision, and Pam Edson or Inga wrote up the decision, the findings of the facts, I went in and signed it. Where technically speaking, we are supposed to bring those decisions, that fact finding back to the board and review it and have the board vote on it and give a final approval, which could take another month.
Or more, if we
Or-
don't meet.
Planning board is required to do that. I didn't think zoning board was required.
Well, I didn't think so either, but, go to a seminar and you learn all sorts of new things. Yes. So, I move that the zoning board of appeals authorize, let me, oh, I gotta get that language in the end conclusions.
Yeah.
I move the zoning board of appeals authorize the designated scribe or clerk to the board to draft the findings of facts and conclusions, and that the chairperson or assistant chairperson of the Board of Appeals be authorized to review and correct those findings and conclusions as necessary, and sign the final decisions on behalf of the Board of Appeals. That would allow us to do what we're doing now and what we've been doing for many years.
And that way we don't put off, if we've approved a building, we're not putting them off
put it
another
off.
month
Yeah.
or,
Or we don't have to have a special meeting like we did with the concrete guy.
yeah.
Any comments? Is there a second to the motion?
Georgia Woodbury, I'll second the motion.
Any comments from the public?
We lost our public.
Any discussions from the board? All those in favor? That-
Mr. Chairman,
Pardon?
did you go through a motion for the schedule yet?
I thought we did.
I didn't hear. What date would you like to change?
November to 11/18/26 and December to 12/16/26. Is there a motion?
I move that we change the November ZBA meeting to November 18th and December meeting to December 16th, 2026.
Second?
Derek seconds.
All in consent? There we go. Is there any other business before the Zoning Board of Appeals? Old or new? I would like to formally welcome Drew to our small group and encourage anybody that's watching is that the Zoning Board of Appeals, as you can see from tonight's meeting, does play a vital role in what happens in town, and we have one full-time spot remaining on the board, one full-time vacancy on the board, and 2 associate positions. And I encourage you to volunteer your time to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Thank you, and good night.
I just need to collect those FOIA papers.